Hi, Jack Canfield here, your host of Hollywood Live. My next segment, I have a wonderful guest that flew in all the way from Perth, Australia. Her name is Katie-Jeyn Romeyn. She is the founder and CEO of Katie-Jeyn Romeyn International, and you're doing Accelerate. I love you. You help people accelerate their success, accelerate their growth. So, so before we get into some more specific questions, tell our viewers just a little bit about who you are, your background perhaps, and what it is you do exactly.
Sure. So I'm from Perth, Western Australia, and my office is in Melbourne.
In Melbourne,
Yeah,
okay.
and I have clients across Australia and now internationally. My purpose and my absolute passion in life is to help leaders succeed in their career. And I specifically work with CEOs, executives, and ambitious leaders, and I help them lead with certainty, stand out, get the recognition they've always wanted, expand their impact and elevate their career much faster than they would ever do on their own. And it literally brings tears to my eyes, not only when they achieve their goals, but exceed whatever they thought was possible for themselves. And that has a ripple effect onto every area of their life.
So can you think of someone I'd just like our viewers to hear like an example of someone you've helped.
Yeah, sure. So I had a lady who had come to me who knew that she wanted to have a really outstanding career but didn't know how to go about it. And she was working in the public service and she basically went from being like a senior type role to a director, and her income increased by $70,000 in just a 6-month period of working with me.
That's good acceleration.
Yeah.
Good for you, good for you, good for you. So I imagine when you were back in high school, you weren't sitting around thinking about how do I grow up and become an accelerator.
No, career accelerator, definitely not.
Exactly. So what was the moment when you made a decision to do what you're doing now?
Yeah, so it actually started with my own career acceleration story. And at the time, I was living in a mining town, which is 570 kilometres or 350 miles north of a city called Adelaide in Australia. And for the viewers, that is smack bang in the middle of nowhere. And I was working in the only job I was qualified to do, which was the front desk of the mine, answering the phone and doing some typing. And I was feeling completely unfulfilled. I was working as a contractor, which meant that I was getting paid a minimum wage and working minimum hours, and I wasn't making enough to make ends meet in a mining town. And I really hit rock bottom when I couldn't afford $700 to fly back to my family and friends in Perth, which cost $700. And shortly after that, my saviour came in the form of a spreadsheet. I was asked to update all the salaries of all the mining engineers and all the geologists, and I couldn't believe how much money they were on. And I thought, I'm going to have what they have. And I made a decision to make the worst thing that ever happened to me, which I thought was moving to Roxby Downs, this mining town, into the best thing that ever happened to me. And I decided to have an outstanding career. There was lots of obstacles and challenges in the way, but if we fast forward just 10 years, I had become an executive of an ASX-listed mining company. And 5 years after that, the work that I led won state, national and employer of choice awards. And during that time, the questions that I kept on getting asked, there was 2 of them. One was, is that the Katie-Jeyn Romeyn? Is that the Katie-Jeyn Romeyn that was on the front desk of the mine? To which I would answer, there's only one Katie-Jeyn Romeyn in the world. So yes, it's me. And then it would be followed by a second question, which was, how did you do that? How did you go from the front desk to being an executive and being well recognised? And because of those 2 questions, it sparked me to actually start my own business. And it's now why I have Katie-Jeyn Romeyn International as a thriving business.
Good for you, good for you. So we don't have time to unpack your entire history with that, but the question you asked, how did you go from the Katie-Jeyn who was at the front of the mine to the Katie-Jeyn who was in the executive offices? How did you answer that question? What are some of the things you did?
So, well, 2 things really. Number 1 is turning adversity into opportunity. So I learnt that any challenge that came my way was actually something to get excited about. And you know, even my clients right now, they might think, oh, it's a bit dramatic, they've got a problem. And I go, yeah, this means that if once you overcome this, your career is going to accelerate. So do what it takes to overcome it. And the second one is that your career only gets better when you do. Work on you and your career will work for you. And so that's all about taking responsibility. It's stopping blaming the organisation, blaming the boss, blaming everybody else. It's actually knowing that I've got to change. And I fundamentally believe that when we change, everything around us changes.
Nothing changes until you do.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah.
That's so critical, so important. I want to underline that for everybody watching this in a yellow highlighter. You know, you've got to change yourself before you change your outer circumstances.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. So if you were sitting here looking at the younger view of yourself, and, you know, perhaps the one sitting at the mine, or perhaps when you decided to start Katie-Jeyn International, what advice would you give to this person? Because you're starting out in a career, and you're accelerating people in their career. You're working with people that want to go from the lower levels of the echelon up into an executive level. What advice would you give that person?
To help others win.
Well, let's unpack that. Help others win. Again, I want to highlight that. So say more.
So, you know, rather than looking what's in it for me, really looking for how you can improve things for other people, because that's the way you become a leader. And when you start focusing on others, that's when your career really accelerates. So, and helping others wins means, you know, becoming innovative. So, and that's why my work ended up winning awards. I wasn't actually focused on me. I was actually focused on making things better for the organisation. And even now in my own business, you know, I've recently created the Career Success Formula specifically to help others win, to help people in organisations go from the career sabotage cycle to the career success cycle, to help them win.
The career sabotage cycle.
Yeah.
How do you see people sabotaging their career?
So often it will start with just a little bit of self-doubt, thinking I might lose my job, or it could be I'm not feeling capable for this. And then it starts to snowball and get into bigger things where they might start making mistakes or being performance managed for their job, all the way through to termination. I've seen, over my time, I've seen high quality CEOs, executives and ambitious leaders fall on their own sword. They've been high performers, but then they flick into this career sabotage cycle, and often they end up being terminated. So I wanted to help those people win by getting back onto the career success cycle.
Good for you. Now, you've been very successful. What would you say is the thing that makes you so successful compared to maybe other people that are out there doing, you know, career coaching or executive coaching, that kind of thing?
Well, I think the thing that differentiates me mostly is that I've actually been where my clients have been. So it doesn't matter where they are in the organisation, I've actually been operating in the same role. So, and you know, I have the qualifications they have, I've operated at the same level, and so I can speak their speak. A lot of other executive coaches and career coaches are really well trained, but they're trained in coaching. So I've actually been where they are, and I have the coaching piece as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I love it. I love it. So, well, I wish we could talk forever. I'd love to hear all your different techniques and principles, because they're really good. But if people wanted to contact you, to get in touch with you, to help them accelerate their career, where do they go?
Well, they go to Katie-Jeyn Romeyn International. My website is katiejeynromeyn.com.
Very simple. Very good. Well, you're delightful to talk to.
You too.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining me today. Wish we had more time.
Had a great time. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back.